This is the last day of DLD, but I'm sure you are very excited to hear what we are going to talk about, and especially that we brought delegation from Armenia, and this is the first time that we had connected the ecosystem, and it will grow. So, hi Arto.
Hi.
Great to have this conversation. I'd like to ask you talk about the creators and also developers. So it's talk about the platforms that you have created. And as a first question, in this age of AI, how do creators create content? What has changed?
Yeah, while on the surface it seems like AI is helping creators, I would say on the contrary, it's not helping at all. For a lot of authentic creators, the major challenges that AI brought is discovery. Because in the age of AI, everyone can create a content, and the quality bar is like pretty low with AI. So discovery becoming more and more challenging, and people still get back to the brands that they know. So it's hard for them to get to know new creators. So that's where the biggest challenge with the AI is happening now. And more than ever, brand and marketing becoming sort of the most important lever to pull for the creators to make their voice heard, actually.
And when saying creators, like, who do you mean? Is it individual person, anyone who can do it from their bedroom, or large companies?
Basically, when we say creators, specifically we are focused on audio-video content creation.
Yeah.
So we talk about people that have sort of meat and information within that content, whether it's educational, whether it's podcasts, whether they are talking about different products. So our focus is mostly on the long form, so starting from the podcast till the educational content. So that's the creators that we focus on, but what we are seeing more and more people sort of getting into the podcasting and creating the content, because long form is sort of becoming a new way to get the engagement and get the real discovery on the internet.
Yeah.
So we are in the forefront of that and helping to automate the workflows from the raw recording, getting into production, and then taking that content and doing the entire marketing for that using AI as well.
So that's what your platform does?
Right.
Podcastle.
Right.
And you spoke about long form and short form content. There is a flood of short form content, which is all the reels and very short videos, TikTok. But at the same time, we see the rise of very long content, like half an hour is not even long form. There is hours of content created. Why is that? Well, what's happening?
Yeah, I think that's the whole reason why we started Podcastle at the beginning. When COVID started and everyone was at home, sort of getting this dopamine addiction from the short form content, everyone was stressful. And what I noticed and what helped me, we got back into sort of this long form content, which is like showing really authenticity of the people that are talking with it. Within that, that's a lot of meat inside of that, a lot of information. So we sort of got back to that to get help from this sort of dopamine addiction. Mm-hmm. That's why podcasters like Joe Rogan got so popular.
Exactly.
But still short form content is very important. And the way we help creators is, imagine people create the raw content for 3 hours. That's basically gold. Now you can take that content and create tons of marketing pieces, bites and pieces from that, and share into socials. So what we do, we have this new AI technology that basically finds the pieces within your content that has potential to go viral and get the reach in the internet and in social media. So more and more people will be directed into your long-form content. And the difference between long-form and short-form is basically, with the short-form content, you get the reach, you get to the people, it's for marketing purposes. But people don't really engage with that. They just sort of see the information about you. But once you redirect them to your long-form content, what happens is you are able to really deeply engage with them. What we say at Podcastle, it's better you have 100 super engaged followers on your podcast rather than having 1 million views on your shorts, because that's where you can sell, you can really build a connection, and it's much more and long-term engagement that is actually compounding compared to the short-form content.
And so you are not only creating the platform, but you are running podcasts yourself, right?
Right.
Can you tell about that?
Yeah, so we are mainly focusing on startups and investments, primarily for Armenians inside the Armenia and abroad that are trying to start a startup and sort of, it also generates a healthy pipeline for our fund as well to invest into the next generation of Armenian entrepreneurs.
And let's talk about media. We are in at DLD, there's lots of media companies here. We have Burda Media. How is AI, how is this whole content creation changing the media landscape? What is changing? What are threats, opportunities? What should media do?
Yeah, I think I met a lot of cool people from the media during the DLD, like very nice human beings. And I think a lot of things that they all share is they all have this concern that the way the people consume content today, it's very different from what traditional media is doing. Like if you look at traditional media, you have all of this sort of text content, but like new generation doesn't consume text. They consume video, they consume audio through the podcast, through the socials. And I think media, more and more media are going to move to these new ways of consumptions through the streaming, through doing podcasts, through doing different types of the media. And that's where also we build the technologies for media companies to be actually able to get the written content that they have already in their outlets and convert that into full-blown podcast episodes that are much easier to consume for this new younger generation that are not used to like reading text, unfortunately.
Okay, and so you have the platform for creators, but you also develop as part of the platform, you've developed all the tools and infrastructure behind to create AI-generated voice, right? Can you talk about that?
Yeah, we have very strong AI research team. Like in the world, there are probably 20 people that doing AI research in voice at this level. So we started doing that 6 years ago when there were no transformer models. Like transformer models are basically the way the current LLMs are built, like ChatGPT and everything that people use. So we started far before that, like we started with diffusion models, so we built sort of the DNA into the voice models. So now I'm proud to say we have one of the best voice models out there, and soon even we are benchmarking better than a lot of models, might be the first one pretty soon as well. So the goal of building this model is what we saw, like, well, there are some text-to-speech technologies. They are not really human. You don't, like, whether you use it like in customer call centers, whether you use it in media, you sort of don't feel like you are speaking with a real human. So we really wanted to bring that to the next emotional level where you, when speaking, you don't really hang up on the calls because you feel it's a robot, or when you are listening to the content, you are not engaging because it sounds robotic. So we pretty much invested in building the best text-to-speech technologies. And what we are seeing is world gets more and more into the voice. When we started the company, we had this vision. What we were saying is like, we are giving voice to the humans, meaning like for the content creators, we help them to get discovered, to do the recordings. But now we are saying we are giving voice to the humans and intelligence, because we are seeing now people talk to the agents, and all of these agents need to have voice as well to be able to talk back. So that's where our focus sort of leans in.
So how do developers use your platform? Is it out there already?
Yeah, it's out there. It's called Async. By the way, I will use the stage to introduce that Podcastle soon rebranding into the Async to sort of fit our larger vision to provide technologies to the creators and developers. So with the Async, basically you can go to the async.ai and open the API and build on top of that anything that you are interested in, whether that's voice agents, whether you want to take your sort of media articles and convert them into full-blown podcasts. I think we are here to help with all of that.
So all of that sounds very exciting. There's lots of opportunities that developers can utilize, the creators can utilize. On the other hand, it sounds very scary for people to realize suddenly a bot or an agent or whatever you call it can sound like exactly like a human, maybe a relative. And what do you see where we are going? What's happening?
Yeah, so technology is going so fast that it's hard to sort of regulate and understand like how to sort of manage that. It's pretty similar to the like where cars were invented. Like you didn't have all the regulations, like people didn't buckle up, you don't had the infrastructure, the streets. I think the infrastructure and regulations are far behind of the technology, especially today when it goes very fast. So the way I see the solution to that is, first of all, the companies that build the technologies like us should build different guardrails. For example, in our case, if somebody comes to our platform and want to clone somebody else's voice, it's actually not possible because we have two guardrails for that, basically. One is that once you start cloning, we use the specific text, so you can read only that text with your voice, because you cannot read with someone else's voice the same text. So we for sure know that it's you, it's your voice, sort of that we are cloning. Then we also, so that speech actually has the image representation. It's called spectrogram. So in the spectrogram, it's easy to hide different keys using the AI. So you can basically then later on, if there is a complaint about somebody doing the deepfake, we can actually understand that it's what was generated with our platform and give that information to somebody that needs that information. Another thing that we help is there are a lot of companies and startups that building technologies to identify the deepfakes. So we work with them and we give our data and text-to-speech data to them, because it's almost like a sort of cat and the mouse situation, because AI is getting better, and the companies that need to detect deepfakes need to learn and get better so they can sort of catch up. And what we do, we help with the data so they can catch up and always be ahead, understanding sort of how this plays out.
And on the scary side, again, there is AI is creating lots of opportunities, making us more efficient, but also it's taking jobs away, potentially. So how do you see with all the agents taking humans' jobs, people in call centers, for example, they may be scared that they are losing their jobs. Well, where do you see we're going?
Yeah, I have a little bit contrarian view on that. There is a concept called from 1860s called Javan's paradox by William Stanley Javan. Basically, the idea is like if something becoming more efficient. So imagine like the car engine. If it needs less fuel to run, it's becoming more efficient. It means it's becoming more cheaper. So more people can afford to buy cars, and more people want the cars. So it creates a demand. So same thing happens now. So with AI, now you can create a software, you can create a content, but what it means, it's become cheaper to create that. So demand is increasing. People need more content. People need more software. So if people need more software, people need more content, then you need more people to use the AI to create even more content, to create even, and what this leads to, it leads to just larger economies. Like, because now, if you typically were concentrated around like your entire economy is basically the amount of people that exist in this world. Now you have like agents, robots, so economy is growing. So you have more abilities to sell, so you need more people. But the fact is a lot of people need to reskill in the age of AI, because let's take an example. If you are a software engineer, like you are writing a code, that's not what you need to do. Now you need to build your own agents that can write a lot of code on behalf of you, so you can manage your own team of agents. So this is different skill. Or you are working at a customer call center, and now you have AI also taking the calls. So what you do, you actually manage multiple agents that taking these calls, and you understand how work with AI to improve their conversion, to improve their sort of call hang-up rates, and all of that. So definitely you need to reskill, but I think there will be more and more job opportunities soon we are just seeing right now more of a layoff side of the things. I think the unfortunate truth about that is like people that are at the VP level, at the senior level, having hard trouble to sort of get into the AI. So new startups are not hiring anymore sort of people that used other technologies and more defensible to this new technology. But generally later on, there will be more opportunities, more jobs, and larger market for people to actually work on very interesting problems. And another thing which is fascinating is like AI now helps to solve like easy problems, and people don't need those easy problems anymore. Like for example, you can easily create a website, right? But website is kind of old interface. People don't really interact with the websites anymore. Yeah. So this gives opportunity for people to solve problems beyond that, beyond what AI can do. And AI can be a helpful tool. And it was fascinating to listen, like people now focusing on solving like the cancer problem and pretty much problems that was not possible to solve before that. Yeah. So now our minds are more important than ever before, because instead of small issues, we are now focused on like bigger things for the humanity, which is like super exciting.
Okay, amazing. And for people in the audience, can you tell about the state of development ecosystem in Armenia? You have development center there. You started out of Armenia. You expanded to London, New York, and but you still have very large developer base there. Any insights for the audience?
Yeah, I always tell you will not understand like Armenia and how great the engineering talent is in Armenia until you don't come to Armenia. Because once you are in Armenia, you basically see the small Silicon Valley. Like people talk a lot about like you access to the talent. Like we have amazing talent because we have heritage of like good math and physics and very good institutions. So we've been able, as I mentioned, like build a research team out of Armenia that is competing with the world-class teams starting spinning off from like Bay Area. And we are seeing more and more companies like that. We have the unicorn PixArt, we have Crisp, another company that is focused on the noise cancellation technology and doing AI in the voice. It's Podcastle. So NVIDIA even has offices in Armenia because it knows that the engineering talent in Armenia is great. And Adobe, sort of we have all of this power. And I think more and more Armenia getting also connected with the world through the travel, through the opening different routes for the business. So I think anyone that has company or thinking about like where to sort of have a team, I think Armenia is a great place. And whenever you need something, just let me or Yervand know. Once you are in Armenia, we'll show you like all the engineering talent, all the development centers, R&D centers, all the research power in the AI.
Okay, great. And the last question before we close, what's vision for your company? Where are you going?
Yeah, so the vision, as I mentioned, we really want to sort of continue on our mission, giving voice to the human and intelligence. So we are seeing more and more agents being able to help content creators to create the content, but as well as more agents needing the actual voice, so our models can help them sort of get that voice. That's where we are going, and I think voice is becoming the most important interface in the age of AI, and really want to lead that into the future.
Great. And before we close, I have announced 2 days ago, but I will tell again, we are going to have DLD in Armenia, and it's going to happen sometime in May. We'll announce the dates, but keep posted. We'll announce the dates, and hopefully we'll see you in Armenia.
Amazing. That's exciting.
Okay. Thanks.
Thank you.